Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Axis Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on tonight? What's popping on this Thursday night? Glad to have you here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to season 16, episode 9 of Axis Live. Master Chief saying, classic Dave, you're muted, bro. I'm not muted, bro. Am I muted, Wink? There's no way I'm muted.
You are not muted.
I know I'm not muted. He's lying. Probably just because he didn't hear me the first couple of seconds. But way to mess things up, Eagle. Way to go. Way to go. Anyway, welcome to season 16, episode 9, Axis Live. I'm your host, Dave Axis. Incredible show tonight. Incredible panel. Incredible week 5 previews by our panel. We got Gunny's Pearls of Wisdom, of course, from the wisest man in the SFL. We have a very special guest in Access After Dark tonight. Miss Ashley Jackson will be joining us. And then I have a surprise announcement at the end of the show after Dark. So if you want to have the 411 on what's going to go on, you might want to stick around. All right, let's see who the party peeps are. Speaking of sticking around, let's see who sticks around in the party. Eagle Mondavi's here. What? That's weird. He's never here. Bo Martin Jr., Kendra Hall, good to see you. Joey Schwint, Freddie, Chris Lee, Doug Britton, Tom Rahman, Project X Crusade, which is Robert Garrett Jr. Leon Thunderman is back. Leon, good to have you back, buddy. Good to have you back. Boomberry, Ray Ray's in the house. Nate Hall, Bullet Boletsky, my favorite quarterback in the entire world. Ace Fennick is in the house. Let's see. Eddie Gage, of course. The lovely and amazing, gorgeous, beautiful, perfect pink Lisa's in the house. Deep Say is with us again. AJ is in the chat for now. Should be on After Dark later tonight. Who else? Master Chief is back. Coach is in there. Jeff Farnsy's with us as well. Benji Matson, David Leathers, Bob Funk. Man, we got a packed house again tonight. It's like people want to hear.
Master Chief?
I believe I know who it is because I've seen him in the SFL one too. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let me think about that for a moment, and I'll guess. It'll pop into my head right in the middle of the show. If you hear me just blurt something out, I don't have Tourette's. I'm literally just throwing it out there the second I remember it. I'll throw it out there. Alan from Charleston's here. Evan Lacey, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Let me see. I think that's probably about it. Anybody sneaking at the last second? Gunny, of course. EJ Minson is in here. Pretty sure it's a particular Diva of the Week nominee. Wait, it's DeAndre. I don't know. You guys figure it out. Let me know because I might be right. I might be wrong. Who knows? In any event, let's get to our incredibly amazing panel tonight that's going to be previewing these week 5 games for us. In the unscripted circle, a man who is a man among men, if that makes any sense. One of the sexiest voices in the SFL. We've got a couple of them on tonight. And host of his own podcast, Coach's Corner, as well as the head coach of the glorious Lone Star Glory. Coach Craven's with us. Coach, what's up? How you feeling? Love the LSG beanie, baby. Red, white, and blue.
Yes, because America and LSG are synonymous. Tell me you like my hat. Tell me you like my hat.
Love it.
All right.
Love it. And especially with the weather we're having, people need to wear beanies right now.
Sure, absolutely. And this was made for me by Cameron Collier's girlfriend. So,
Nice.
if you want one, just DM our boy.
Hit up the best fullback in the SFL, and he'll hook you up. Sweet.
That's
All
right.
right, Coach, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, in the unfiltered circle, Mr. Arizona Everything, the Hall of Famer, Mr. What Up, Doe, Eddie Gage is here. Eddie, what up, Doe?
What up, though, Dave? What's going on, man? It's been a minute.
Nothing. I like the hat. Glad to see you can finally make it with us. You got everything going cool now? Everything good?
Yeah, work has been crazy, man. Working ridiculous hours, but it is what it is, and I'm here. So making most
good deal. I like the hat a lot.
Appreciate it.
You got it, bro. All right. In the unedited circle, someone who should have been on the top 10 play, somebody who should be nominated for Player of the Week, somebody who is in the running for Diva of the Week this week, and somebody who popped off 2 70-plus yard touchdowns this weekend. Again, for my glorious Lone Star glory, wide receiver and offensive coordinator, the Cuban Missiles with us, Greg Soto. Greg, what's going on with you, bro? There's between stupidity and genius. Is that genius has what? I can't see it. Its limits. Nice. Too bad stupidity doesn't. Greg, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good to be back on the show, and LSG, baby, for life.
Love you kicking the show off with a strong sign game. I like that a lot. All right. And in the unforgettable circle this evening with us, one of the other sexiest voices of the SFL, along with arguably the sexiest tight end in the SFL. No stranger to the show, no stranger to the SFL. Tight end for London and SFL commentator, Mr. Benji Matson. Benji, where's your hat today? I think this is the first time I've ever seen you without a hat.
It's got to be original, Dave.
Okay. All right. You're the only, look at you. You're original. You're the only one on the panel without a hat tonight.
I started the hat thing, and now I'm just changing it up.
Look at that. So that means next Tuesday, everybody's going to show up with no hats on.
To be fair, Eddie is also original, as he is the only one without glasses.
Oh, snap. Look at that.
So Eddie will be wearing glasses
actually,
next week.
Technically, Coach is also original because he's the only one with a beanie. See, there's a lot of originality on this show, even though we all dress the same pretty much. All right. Let's move on to bigger and better, more important things. We're going to get to these games, but I want to remind everybody the way we do the AP poll on this show, the Axis Live poll, the Axis poll, where teams slide up and down the poll week to week. We take 16 people that are included, a part of Axis Live. We all fill out a form. We rank our power rankings 1 through 24. Then we take all of that to make the AP poll. Then we take the AP poll and we combine it with both Jack's Data current poll only and Slim Shady's power rankings. And we come up with a conglomerate of those. And we get to, with the next slide, Wink, show them, is the overall power rankings, which what we put on the graphics. So the far left column is the official Axis Live show rankings that we put on the graphics. So I know some of you have heard that before, but I wanted to make sure that those of you who maybe didn't hear before or are new to the show understood it and didn't wonder why is your team number 9 or whatever. All right, so let's kick this thing off. The SFL had to change the schedule. They had to change a couple games last minute. So we're going to do things a little out of order tonight, not like we normally do. So we are going to do them according to the latest SFL schedule, which kicks things off on Saturday, Fort Worth at Houston. Coach, this is a Tex-Mex South Divisional game, so it's very important, not just for the overall standings, but in head-to-head and for divisional record. Both teams playing well. Fort Worth is 3-1. Houston has won 2 games as of late. So they're on the uprise, and they get to home field in this game. So how do you see this breaking down?
This is an interesting one, isn't it? It's the classic unstoppable force against an object. I haven't looked. Houston is number 2 in total yards per game. Fort Worth is first in yards allowed and turnover differential. I mean, it's a total contrast in styles. I was early on watching Fort Worth and thinking maybe their offense was struggling a little bit, but they showed some life last week. Our boy Cam Curtis got his first touchdown. Looked pretty good. And they only have 5 turnovers on offense. And that's, in this league, that's really hard to do. That's very impressive. I could be argued that Fort Worth hasn't played anyone real tough yet, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I was gonna ask you about, they played Portland, they played Tulsa. Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. Go ahead.
Yeah. And okay, last year you would have said, well, Louisiana, but Louisiana's struggling this year. So, but you got to play who's on your schedule. And so to me, it's kind of hard to hold that against them. Houston, on the other hand, that you can say what you want, that quarterback of questionable pedigree is still got skills. Their coach knows how to use him. And last week they certainly exploded for a lot of yards. Like I said, unstoppable force, immovable object. I think that the penchant between the two of these and the way they are, barring any like special teams crap that nobody has any control over, I think Fort Worth wins this thing because they're probably going to win the turnover game. They just grind you out, and their offense is starting to flow a little bit. It's interesting. It could be interesting. If they don't get those turnovers, then Houston, I've said a few times, forgive me, I'm kind of rambling. Houston, I've said a few times, is a little bit like Vancouver, kind of a volume offense. The more opportunities they get, the more likely they are to get rolling. But Fort Worth doesn't give you the opportunities. So
let me ask you about the run game real quick before we move on to the next game. Thrilliums versus Warren Murray. Who wins the run game?
Well, gosh, I would take Warren Murray in a heartbeat. In most circumstances, he's just such a good running back, but they don't always use him that much. And Thrilliums is Warren Murray might be the X factor. And this is not news. Cameron Irvine has said this. Other people have said this. If Warren Murray has a big game, Houston wins. That's just the way it works. And he's certainly capable of it. So
yeah, like he did against us last year, unfortunately. Well, Jack's data has Fort Worth favored by 6.5, so almost a touchdown, Coach. So I think Jack's data is agreeing with you with an over-under of 44.5, which, looking at this, looks to be the second lowest for the entire week. So they're not expecting a lot of points. And so far in the Who You Got, SFL Nation taking Fort Worth 104 to only 54 for Houston. So it's definitely a Fort Worth crowd in SFL Nation. Moving on to game 2 on Saturday. Sioux Falls at Tulsa. Eddie, before the season started, if I saw this on the schedule, I would say this is a no-brainer. Sioux Falls is going to go into Tulsa and take care of business. Sioux Falls hasn't been playing like the normal Sioux Falls team that we know, and Tulsa coming off their first win. So is that advantage Tulsa in this match?
Typically you would think so, but Tulsa has a history of being a relatively unknown in which we just don't know which Tulsa team is going to show up. Coming into week 4, Sioux Falls only scored 23 points while surrendering 82 points. Not the Sioux Falls we all kind of know and love. Versus Mexico City last week, their offense woke up, scoring 38 points. But it wasn't enough, as Mexico City themselves scored 28 second quarter points en route to a nail-biting 41-38 victory over Sioux Falls. To any historian of the SFL, it was obvious that Sioux Falls made changes offensively after week 2 to their game plan because what they had so far wasn't not working and they could not score the ball. Yet here they are in an unfamiliar spot looking for their first win of the season. Tulsa, like you said earlier, got their first win over Queen City last week. With that game tied at 10 all at the end of the first quarter, they ended up scoring 17 unanswered points in the second quarter and cruised to a 37-20 victory, powered by 5 turnovers while sacking A.J. Caswell 6 times. Even more impressive, they got this win with Gabriel Manning serving as primarily as a decoy. He only finished with 47 yards on 6 catches. Getting more of the weapons involved in his offense consistently, will always be the key for them, in my opinion, if they have any aspirations of long-term success.
2 things real quick, Eddie. First, I think somebody DM'd me and said that Master Chief is D-Wash, but is that not right?
Yep.
Okay.
He changed his name to Terrell, I think he said in the chat.
Okay. All right. But so let me ask you this real quick about Sioux Falls, Eddie. Sioux Falls, tough schedule though, right? They got to play Denver, Baltimore, Charleston, and Mexico City first 4 games, which understandable is a tough schedule. First 2 games though, with Baltimore and Denver, they get blown out. Is Sioux Falls now in week 3 and 4 a close game with Charleston and then a close game with Mexico City? Are they gaining traction? Is this the game that could get them over the hump?
I think they're gaining traction. They're starting to realize, like a lot of other SFL teams are, that with the new reconstructed rules and game settings of this of All Pro, that they have to make some adjustments, and they're amongst one of the hardest teams hit, according to it, in my opinion. But I think they're starting to turn a corner. And if you ask me, I think they walk away with a win this week.
Okay. What does Tulsa have to do real quick? We got like 1 minute. What does Tulsa need to do? I mean, other than the obvious, JQ can't throw 4 interceptions, that kind of thing. What else does Tulsa need to do to come away with a W?
If I was the offensive coordinator of Tulsa, I would get Sonzo Robinson more involved in the offense. He doesn't
Sonzo.
get enough carries. Yep.
No, and Sonzo had a great game last week, right? He had 78 yards, but 2 touchdowns. So good,
Correct.
Decent game. All right, well, Eddie, Jack's Data disagrees with you. They have Tulsa favored by 3. They think Tulsa's going to continue their win streak. Over under a 51.5, which is in the lower portion of the over unders this week, almost close to the middle. But Eddie, SFL Nation agreeing with you by a lot, 115 to only 40, taking Sioux Falls. And so we'll see who's right this week. Is it Eddie and SFL Nation, or is it going to be Jack's Data? Moving on to game 3, due to the schedule change, Coach, we are going to hop back to you. This, to me, is quite possibly the most intriguing game of the week, and I'll tell you why. Vancouver was undefeated, flying high. LA undefeated, flying high. Both coming off losses. This is not the kind of game that you want to play somebody in that same situation, because now one of these teams is going to get back on track and the other has a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And we could have just as easily had 2 undefeated teams playing. And that would have on the surface heightened the drama. But your point is fantastic, because one of these teams is going to have 2 losses. And you're going to, you might look at them and, well, 2 losses. That's a pretty good 2-loss team, right, at this point in the season. So, this is a very interesting game to me. And when I started digging into the stats just a little bit, it got even more interesting. The turnover differential on these two, both of them are plus. Vancouver's +2, and LA is +5, which is quite good.
Wow.
I think the winner of the turnover game, this is, this water is wet, the sky is blue, but I really do think that the turnover game in this one means a lot. Vancouver needs a lot of opportunities, and the more they get, the more they score. There's a couple of very eye-popping stats when you look at these 2 games. We know Vancouver's gets a lot of yards. They're like 460-ish per game.
Yeah.
LA has almost 400. They're at 396.5. They're actually doing really well. And early in the season, I thought, looking at their roster, well, the defense is going to be solid. The offense is going to have to kind of control it and rely on that running game. Got a good running game, but the offense is no slouch. The other eye-popping stat, Vancouver by a wide margin, leading the league. 69% conversion of third downs. Wow. 69%. That is insane. I expect an exciting game. Here's the deal. As a rookie with Vancouver, we went 6-0, I think, before we lost a game. And watching Vancouver from the outside, this looks different. I'm seeing plays from them that I haven't seen before. There's something about them. St. Louis played a magnificent game last week. That's going to happen. I think St. Louis is a good team. Vancouver's got nothing to worry about in that loss. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Are you implying that Vancouver's loss is a better loss than LA's then? And therefore...
Well, no, because I think Florida is getting overlooked a little bit because of the week 1 result. I think people are undervaluing them a little bit, and Florida's a tough team. Both of these teams had quality losses, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
That St. Louis game was one of the most. It was a magnificent game. It was just everything for St. Louis that week went really, really well, and they needed it. Everything went the way they needed it to go to beat Vancouver. Not to take anything away from them. I have a feeling about Vancouver. They just feel special. And like Eddie said before we started the show, it's a long season. It's early. Things could change. But I think in a wild, exciting game, if you ask me, I think Vancouver's going to win this one. But it is a pick 'em all the way. Both of these teams are really talented.
Well, Jack's data agrees with you. They have this as a pick 'em. The bummer thing about this game is what I kind of hinted at the beginning. one of these teams starts off hot 3-0 and will be going into week 6 3-2. And if you don't handle that the right way, it could be devastating for the rest of the season. Jack's data has this as the highest over under at 69.5, and the closest, just by a couple votes, who you got by SFL Nation, 81-75. So only 6 votes separating them as of a couple hours ago in favor of Vancouver. So we'll see how that breaks down. Eddie, going back to you one more time. St. Louis at DC. To me, the last game that I talked to a coach about is the most intriguing game. This game has trap game written all over it. St. Louis 4-0, coming off a huge win over Vancouver against a team that they could easily overlook. What do you think happens? Do they overlook them or not?
These days, it's tough to overlook any team in the SFL. If you'd have said that maybe 4 or 5 seasons ago, sure, but not these days because all of these teams are just so competitive, and the coaching has just stepped up for all of these teams. So I won't say they overlook them, but they do have to be careful because, as you know, DC has started to turn the corner a bit offensively and got on track. So
yeah,
they got to be careful. Through 4 games, St. Louis has scored 96 points and surrendered 71. DC, on the other hand, has only scored 62 points while surrendering 112. But that's a little misleading if you look at their first 2 games in comparison to the last 2 games. Stephen Mullinex is starting to get things turned around, so you just got to take notice as to what they've changed offensively. St. Louis, they started the season with a win over Portland. Everybody said, nice win. Good job. Week 2, a win over Queen City. Yeah, okay. All right. Week 3, Louisiana, but they were already winless, still trying to find their way. Okay, congratulations. They gave them a golf clap. Last week, they played Vancouver, and Christian Brown, he played a flawless game. He didn't do anything flashy. He didn't throw the ball downfield too often. Vancouver took a lot of that away. So he just took what the defense gave him, threw everything underneath. He got just enough out of his running game, and I don't think they even punted the ball once, did they? I can't remember. I don't think they did. And Vancouver, I don't think they punted much either, but they had that one turnover that kind of made the difference deep in their own end that allowed St. Louis to capitalize and score a field goal. DC, on the hand, started out slow. They hadn't played competitive football in the first 2 games. Mexico City, they took them to OT, however, in week 3, followed by a close loss to Charleston, who's only had 1 defeat versus yours truly. Their offense has started out slow the first 2 games, but Stephen Mullinex started to turn things around, figure out what's working best with his team, and that's always hard to do when you take over a new franchise, especially with rookie players. But he's starting to get things figured out offensively. Their defense actually played pretty good versus Charleston last week. Yeah, Keith Swedger had a big game. I think he finished like 120, 130-something yards. But those came primarily on 2 carries because the other 18 carries, he finished at like 13, I think it was 30 yards on 18 carries for the rest of the game. So their defense tightened up, but Swedger made those 2 big runs, and that was the difference in the game. St. Louis offense is designed to limit turnovers, not take unnecessary chances. And I'm telling y'all, I told y'all before in my last YouTube video last season, Drew really is the real deal. He learned a lot coming from Gerald, but before Gerald took off, and he took all he learned from him and ran with it. That guy takes chances that a lot of other teams don't take, and he's a risk taker, and I love that about him. I love watching his defense play. All that said, I think that St. Louis takes this one, but it's going to be a close game that's going to be decided late in the 4th quarter.
Well, Rizabid in the chat said, I'm calling the upset here. DC will get it done this weekend. So DC at home. 2 weeks ago, they lose only 3 points to Mexico City. This past week, they lose on a last-second touchdown. So I could see the upset here, Eddie. Let's see. Jack's data. Yeah, Jack. Here's what Jack's data only has St. Louis favored by 7.5. So I don't know if that means they're kind of thinking the same thing, that this could be a trap game, or they just think DC is getting good enough that, they're closing the gap on their spreads. Over under of only 48.5, which is about the 3rd lowest. But again, SFL Nation 124-31, overwhelmingly for St. Louis as of a couple hours ago. So we'll see how that goes. Apparently, not a lot of people agreeing with Rizabit in the chat in the SFL about a potential upset.
Stage.
Yep. Moving on to Atlanta at Jacksonville. Greg, we finally get to bring you and Benji in now that we're kind of back on track here. Another intriguing game. Jacksonville coming off a tough loss against us. Atlanta kind of up and down. The offense looks like, the best in the league some weeks, and then it's sputtering other weeks. Some weeks BDG's doing great and Dynasty's doing great, and other weeks they're not. Is Atlanta just too inconsistent to go into Jacksonville and get a win? Do you think Jacksonville rebounds, or do you think this week is the beginning of a slide for Jacksonville?
Well, this is similar to a game that you talked about a little bit earlier. Whoever loses this game will have a 2-game losing streak. And when you think about Atlanta or Jacksonville, I mean, when do you ever think that a team's going to lose 2 in a row, especially like that? And I think one thing is Jacksonville's going to be happy going back home. They haven't had a home game since the beginning of the season when they beat Houston. They've had to go on the road to Florida, go on the road to San Diego, and then last week to Lone Star. But when I was looking at everything, the biggest thing is I remember about 2 weeks ago, I also had to talk about Atlanta. And at that time, Atlanta only had 3 rushing touchdowns. I looked at the stats again, and guess what? After 2 weeks, they still have 3 rushing touchdowns. To me, that is a problem. BDG Hollywood has to get more. The guy has to get more touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, and then that was it. They've stopped. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The biggest thing is one of the things is that, and Dynasty's at 13 interceptions already.
Wow,
that is huge. And
quite a contrast from last season. Yeah,
it's huge. It's a big thing. I mean, there's a lot of passing yards. Don't get me wrong. But his completion percentage has gone down. His QBR has gone down. It's 20 points lower than Christian Christensen. The QBR, and and they have great receivers. So that's one thing. Siege Falco, Boo Chisholm, Jamal Wooding.
Yeah,
they
have
all
some of the best. Yeah,
they have 14 plus yards per reception, which is ridiculous. I mean, to have that kind of a receiving core and still throw 13 interceptions, I just don't know what's going on there in Atlanta. One of the biggest things I think is Aquana Shine and Cole Finnegan, 39 tackles each total. I mean, they're just an awesome defense, but again, it's going to come down to, can Atlanta go into Jacksonville? Jacksonville's probably pissed off that they've lost last week, and they're happy now that they're going home. I don't know if Atlanta can recoup from losing at home and now having to travel, losing to an 0-3 team to Louisiana. So it's going to be tough, but I think Atlanta has to not throw too many interceptions, because I could see if it was fumbles and everything, but it's not. Unfortunately, I hate to say this because I love Bryant Dynasty. I think he's a good kid, good quarterback, but all the turnovers are all on Dynasty, every single one, and they're a -4, turnover differential. I think that needs to change. BDG has to see the end zone. You have to feed that man. He needs to have a better game. I think it's all dependent on that. And Jacksonville's going to do what they do, and their offense is going to do as well. I mean, Jared Willis is going to run. He has the same about the same amount of yardage that BGG Hollywood has, 403 to 418. They're both carrying the ball 5.8 and 6.1 yards per carry. So it's a tall order to ask to Atlanta to go into Jacksonville and win, and I think it is going to be tough. But
let me ask
it can be done.
Let me ask you a quick question, a quick answer, Greg. Do you think Atlanta and both Jacksonville were just kind of victims of circumstance last week? Lone Star needing a win, Louisiana absolutely needing a win, and they just were kind of in games that, against teams that were so desperate for a win, there's probably not another outcome that was going to happen. And now both teams able to get back on track, but now they have to play each other instead.
Yeah, I totally believe that, and I think it's a better scenario for Jacksonville being at home in front of their fans and having Atlanta having to worry about that 10-point loss last week and having to travel to Jacksonville knowing that Jacksonville's pissed off already that they're 2-2. They're not happy that they lost to us. They're not happy that they lost to Florida. And they definitely don't want to lose to Pickler. I mean to not Pickler. To Dynasty, in their same division. They just
Gotcha.
I think they're going to run into some trouble. Atlanta is down in Jacksonville.
Okay. Well, Jack's data has themselves favored by 3. So they have Jacksonville favored by 3. Over under of only 51.5, which is in the lower tier. But overwhelmingly, again, and it's amazing how many of these are just have such wide gaps, is 105 to 50. SFL Nation and the Who You Got taking Jacksonville. So maybe Jacksonville at home, thinking that the LSG loss on the road was just a blip. Moving on to Las Vegas at Arizona, Benji. Here's an interesting thing. I think Cam made a comment in one of the post-game shows this weekend that Arizona is only, a couple plays away from actually not even having a W. On the flip side, though, they're also a few plays away from being 2-2 or potentially even 3-1. So is this a chance for them to go against, to host Las Vegas at home and really kind of put their stamp on a game? Or do you think Las Vegas rebounds from their loss last week?
Well, Dave, this is going to be a big West Division showdown. Really interesting comments there from Cam about this game.
Eddie Gage saying, "I got to talk to Cam."
If we look at this right,
What is going on?
What's going on?
This will be back to
What?
the 10-yard line, returnable. Out to the 20.
Oh, look at that man go.
Oh, good. Doug Britton, baby. Go, Doug Britton. You just got hacked by Doug Britton.
Dougie B. The high-flying Las Vegas Fury are flying into Arizona this week. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And back to Cam's comments. That's a sexy play, by the way, Doug Britton. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Arizona. Oh, Eddie Gage, 1-3. This is a waste. The season's over, right? But look who they lost to, First game of the year. They lost to Baltimore Vultures, the reigning champs. The second loss of the season.
Barely lost to Baltimore, by the way.
Yeah, 21-27. Great, that's nothing to shake your head at all. And they're on the road. They did lose at home second game, to the London Knights. And then last game, they lost to Denver. So, I mean, you can say what you will about that middle loss there to London. I think, of course, that at the end of the season, that's going to be an honorable loss to London. So they lost to 3 good teams there. You got this. I have the mic, guys. This is my turn here. So I don't think that's going to be anything to be upset about that record. They are 1-3, but the season's young. And even in the green room today, Eddie's like, the season is long. It will all play out. I think Arizona is going to be good. They're going to be fine. This game's really interesting. Both these teams like to sling it. They're going to be a lot of points scored. They have some difficulty on defense, stopping the pass. Their passing defenses, unfortunately for both these squads, are kind of near the bottom of 23 and 24 actually in the league in yards per game. Both teams are allowing a lot of points. Poor Arizona, after these first 4 games, actually in the bottom points scored. They're averaging 34 points a game. So I think, Ed Gage is known for defense, and I think there are just some games that happened, like their 42-31 game against London, for instance, which was closer than that score. London had a pick 6
at the
very end of the game. So they were driving with a chance to win. So, yeah, they're just a few plays away from a totally different record. So I think that they're fine. No need to panic. This is going to be a unique game where no matter how much you game plan on the defensive side of the ball, I think things are just going to happen. One of the interesting stats I think we're all got to take forward here is that if you're Arizona looking at Las Vegas, John Blades is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
31 receptions, 616 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's first in yards. So far, he's third in average, almost 20 yards of reception, first in touchdowns. He has accounted for 36% of the Las Vegas passing attack, that volume. So it's almost like, take away John Blades and dare this Las Vegas team to go somewhere else with the ball in this matchup to see what can happen. That's one thing to take a look at, that Las Vegas offense against the Arizona defense. But then on the flip side, this Las Vegas defense is a ball hawking squad. They have 4 interceptions last week, I believe. If I have looking that up really quickly, yeah, they had 4 interceptions in the game last week. Ashley Jackson, AJ, is averaging 3 interceptions a game. So, based on that alone, you've got to figure there may be a turnover in this game. There may be more than one. There may be 2. And if this is Las Vegas taking the ball away from Arizona, it's going to unfortunately kind of fall into this game script that we might have seen for Arizona, where they're just going to have to continue slinging the ball, maybe to stay in the game. We know Las Vegas wants to sling it. Both teams are also having problems establishing the running game. That would be a way that this game goes opposite of how I think it might go, is if DJ Moses and Scott Johnson become like this focal point. They try and pound the rock a little bit on the ground to try and set up the pass, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Both teams are having difficulty rushing the ball. So if it's a shootout, is it going to be that we're waiting for a turnover to happen? And when that turnover happens, is it Arizona throwing a pick to Las Vegas? Does that set them up for an easy score on their side of the field, short field? That's how it could go down. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect it if Arizona, based on they're a great team, great coach, they do play good defense, and they've played some really tough competition to start the season out. They're at home. I expect them to come out on fire and play great defense until they flip the script here and come out of this thing with a win. So it's just going to be a fun game to watch. I'm not quite sure which way it's going to go.
Yeah, the one thing that you mentioned that stood out to me is Ashley averaging 3 interceptions per game in the losses. The one game that Arizona won, 0 interceptions. Jack's data has Las Vegas actually favored by 3.5 on the road. Over under 57.5, which is about middle of the road, actually a little higher than that. And a big lead for Arizona, 103-61 in the Who You Got so far in SFL by SFL Nation. So I think a lot of people having faith in Arizona, but the data from Jack's data is saying it's going to be Las Vegas. So thank you, Benji. Let's check and see if Gunny's around. Gunny, are you in the house anywhere?
Sir, yes, sir.
Gunny, how you doing, bro? You good? You hanging in there? Everything good?
Everything's good, yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. I was just stalling to there it is, so Ray could get the lyrics in there. I knew she would do it. All right, Gunny, you're good to go.
Hang on a minute. I'm out of lights.
Uh-oh. You losing power?
No, I'm going down the hallway.
Oh, okay. No worries at all. Ray put the lyrics in for the Marines hymn so everybody can sing along. We're ready to go.
Montezuma?
The dark hallway of Montezuma?
Well, that's quite fitting because I was on YouTube today and I was looking for, I saw a Marine Corps, like Black Friday Day when you meet the DIs.
Yeah.
I looked a little further. I found a posting of my platoon's graduation.
Wow.
Posted from 4 years ago. And the guy was part of my platoon. I believe he's from Boston, but I'm not sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I enjoyed seeing that. I was the shortest guy out of 265, so it was easy to find me in the lineup.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I was like third shortest, so I'm with you, Gunny.
All right, well, good luck to everyone in the week number 5. I hope everyone has a glorious game. Of course, I want Lone Star to win, even though I do wish London an outstanding season. All I have today is some more questions for Cameron Irvine. Question number 1, bucket list sporting event. What would it be? Gunny's answers: attend an Army-Navy game.
Ooh.
Number 2, if you could pick any broadcaster, past or present, to be on play-by-play for an SFL game, who would it be? I picked Jim McKay or Kurt Gowdy. Also, Vince Scully and Bob Uecker also other suggestions. If you had the opportunity, would you choose to see a game at all 32 football stadiums, all 30 baseball stadiums, all 31 hockey arenas, or all 30 basketball courts? Number 4, have you broke any bones? If so, how many? Gunny has a few of those. His first one, he broke his elbow on a seesaw. He still does not like seesaws. Question number 5. It is Thursday. It is Thirsty Thursday. So what is your adult beverage of choice?
Ooh.
And with that, everyone have a drink for the SFL this weekend and enjoy your games. And that is all.
Awesome, Gunny. You know what? The second part of that question for Cam should be, what you drinking? Then will you drink it on the Axis show? I'd love to see Cam on this show drinking.
Only if he's on camera.
Only if he's on camera. Exactly. All right, let's move to Sunday's slate of games. Kicking things off, Denver at Louisiana. Now, we all wanted to see this game last season, Greg. This is the 1 and 2 teams all season long. This is the game we wanted to see. We didn't get to see it. We get to see it this season, and we're going to see it twice, actually. But is it kind of let down now because of the way Louisiana's playing? Or do you think Louisiana's back on track after last week, and they could actually give Denver a fight and maybe even win this game?
I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not excited about the game. I think, Denver, just looking at stats and look at the way Denver has played, Louisiana has had 2 home games and they've lost both games. They've only scored 21 points at home. And Denver away has scored 69 points already on opponents. Sorry, Eddie. I know it happened last week. 36 of them. But it's just, they're going into Louisiana. I thought Louisiana, against Fort Worth in week 2, I thought they were going to do something, but only putting up 7 points. It's just a lot, and as a total, Denver has 130 points for. That's just crazy. Josh Miller's QBR is 105. It's 50 points higher than Pickler in the QBR. And if I was to tell you that, hey, the leading rusher in this game with 631 yards is not Reggie Streeter.
Right.
It's just crazy. And Pickler, again, 14 interceptions in 4 games. That just can't happen. They can't happen. I don't care if you're at home. I don't care if you're away. When you're playing a top tier team like Denver, it's just too much. I mean, Pickler has thrown more interceptions than completed receptions to Garrison Blue, B.E. Robo, and Reggie Streeter. Not combined, but separately. They each have 11 receptions, 13. He's thrown 14 interceptions to the opposing team. It's just going to be hard. And then when you compile that with Des Troyer having the season that he's having, he already has 4 solo sacks. On that defensive Denver, you have to deal with that when you're already throwing multiple interceptions a game. And, now you also had players get hurt last week. Hopefully they're healthy enough. They're not going to get hurt this week. You have to then worry about Kramer Jackman. Again, a great player in the SFL, great kicker. He's 10 for 10 again. He's not missing anything. And just Denver. Another thing that I thought was kind of weird is, punt returns. Denver already has 17 punt returns by Riley Quintero. That's telling me that their defense is doing their job when Riley Quintero already almost has 20 punt returns already in 4 games. I mean, that defense is doing their job. Not only are they doing what they need to do on the ground, over the air, they have 6 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns. It's crazy. It's just, Josh is already at 78%, 79% completion, and he's already at 921 yards passing, and only 3 interceptions. The guy's efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over. He commands the offense. It's just going to be a tall order for Louisiana at home, especially how they played at home this year. Only 21 points. You have to score more than that. I mean, you just do. Denver's scoring 32 points a game.
Yeah. So let me ask you
It
this.
doesn't even matter where they're at.
So let me ask you this. If Louisiana, so first of all, I see a little good in Louisiana going on the road in the Hive and winning by 10 points, putting 30 points up, and Pickler only throwing one interception. I think that's a good change of trend for them, right? Based on their first 3 games.
Yeah, that's a
Are there
positive.
any, and just a real quick, because we need to get moving, but a real quick answer. Are there any moral victories for Louisiana in this game, or do they have to win this game?
I think they have to win this game at home. If you go in the first 5 games, if you're already 0-3 at home, I don't think that you should expect to make the playoffs. If you can't even win at home.
Well, Jack's data doesn't have a lot of faith in Louisiana either. 10.5-point underdogs. That's the largest deficit of the entire weekend. So 10.5 is the only double digits too. 10.5-point underdog Louisiana, and over under a 52.5, which is about middle of the road. Again, over 100 votes more for Denver than Louisiana in the Who You Got by SFL Nation, 130-28. Moving into game 2 on Sunday, Benji. This is always an interesting game. Divisional rivals now. Carolina at Charleston. The whole battle for Carolina kind of thing going on. I like what I'm seeing from Charleston in the first 4 games of this season versus last season. Carolina has a couple good W's on their resume as well. Does Carolina have a chance going into Charleston and taking care of business?
I definitely think they have a chance. Good victories by Carolina so far. They did lose at home to Las Vegas first, but followed up in week 2 with a solid victory over the Lone Star Glory.
Thanks for recapping that, Benji.
Yeah, there you go. Great victory there for Carolina. Both teams beat San Diego and DC last week. So those 2 teams still looking for their first win. Charleston has won 2 in a row. They did beat Sioux Falls in the week before. Carolina traveling on the road. Charleston, this is going to be one of those kind of slugfests, I think, perhaps. Both teams are sporting some top of the league scoring defenses. Carolina comes in at 5, Charleston at 6. So points are going to be maybe at a premium in this matchup. Looking at defense again, Carolina actually gets off the field, which is going to be an interesting stat. They lead the league in third down percentage, 29% their defense on third down. So that is going to be an interesting stat there. On the road, can they keep that pressure on the defensive side of the ball and get Charleston off the field there? Both teams are going to look to feature the running game. Both are kind of in the top quarter of the league there, averaging over 100 yards on the game, on the ground. Last week, Carolina, in their victory over San Diego, Logan Jack toted the rock for 37 carries for $190 and 2 touchdowns. It was a Logan Jack show last week. Every receiver touched the ball. So Xander Gold, distributed the ball. Only 19 completions, only 25 attempts. So, Logan carried the weight in that matchup last week. And looking at his performance so far this season, it is the Logan Jack show in Carolina. 137 total touches. He actually is 4th in the league for all receivers with 37 receptions from his halfback spot. And that's a staple in that Carolina offense. He's got 100 carries, which is 2nd in the league. So he's touched the ball 137 times so far this season. Everyone else on the team combined 50 touches. So it's the Logan Jack show in Carolina. Can they bring that, that defense that gets off the field on third down into Charleston? Can they expect Logan Jack to carry the rock so that, for instance, Xander Gold can just be that distributor, get everyone else involved, but let Logan Jack carry the weight against this Charleston defense? And I think that's going to be a unique matchup. Charleston on defense, they've got some players here that have got some great stats. They could have an edge at home on defense here. Jack Brown's playing well at his linebacker spot, 4th in the league in tackles. Joseph Saboka 4th or 6th in the league in sacks. He's got 4. He's got 7 tackles for loss, and even Corey Minner there at quarterback. He had 3 interceptions so far this season. So the defense is opportunistic in Charleston. You have to expect that when Carolina comes to town, based on their past matchups and what they've seen on tape, that they're going to be expecting Logan Jack to tote that rock.
Right.
So that's going to be that matchup there, knowing that Carolina is going to turn around and hand the ball to Logan Jack or pass it to him out of the backfield. And Charleston knows that. Can that defense put the clamps on Logan Jack? Charleston's been getting some good performances, though, out of Keith Swearigan themselves. He's 5th in the league in carries, 2nd in the league in yards, almost 500 yards there. So he pounds on the ground, too. And that's what Charleston's going to want to do. And then look out. Buchanan Simons is having a great season so far.
Yeah.
Great average per catch, getting in the end zone. And T.D. Drew's doing a good job as well on their side of the ball of getting all the receivers involved. I think everyone on the offensive side of the ball there for Charleston, receivers have all touched the ball, double-digit receptions there already. So very efficient offense there for Charleston. But I think maybe that unique matchup is, if you have to point to one matchup in that game, it's Logan Jack on the road against Charleston. When Charleston knows Logan Jack's going to get the ball, what's going to happen? It's going to be a good, I think, maybe a slugfest. Going to be an exciting one, though.
Well, Jack's data has Charleston favored by 3.5 with an over-under of only 45.5, which is the 3rd lowest for the weekend. However, in addition, Charleston in the Who You Got SFL Nation 115 to only 41. So a lot of people in the SFL liking the way Charleston's playing. Moving on to game 3, Greg, Queen City at Baltimore. This is an interesting game to me just because of the way both teams have been playing the first 4 weeks of the season. I think a lot of people expected Baltimore probably to be undefeated at this time. Not sure what we expected from Queen City, but they grinded out a couple. Does Queen City have a chance going into Baltimore and coming away with a W?
It's going to be tough, and it goes back to my previous game, that I talked about. It's going to be on the hands of AJ Caswell. He has 12 interceptions. His QBR is 53. It's just tough when the team in general, not only are you throwing interceptions, but the turnover differential is -6. And the other team has a +6. That's a 12.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's a 12 turnover margin. I mean, that is massive. That is massive. And Baltimore's a good team. I mean, look, Baltimore lost to the number 1 team in the SFL. Yes, Jeremy, I'm saying it. The number 1 team that has been the number 1 team, Denver.
That hasn't been challenged yet, Jeremy.
Oh, I'm not saying that, Jeremy.
I said that.
But they lost to them, but that's it. They got, they beat a really feisty team in London. London,
Yep.
kept in the game, almost beat them at Baltimore. Arizona gave them a hell of a game at Baltimore at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Sioux Falls fell off, but I mean, again, having to play at Baltimore, I think Queen City has a hard task in front of them, just because of their quarterback play, and also just, Jet Zero's doing what he can, 319 yards, 6 touchdowns, but that's it. That's really it. And then for Queen City, their defensive line between Tilly, Duffy, and Begin, they're doing really good. They have 7 sacks so far. They're doing good. But again, you have to deal with the efficiency of Wigmore. You got Irvin, at 425 yards receptions, 37 receptions for 425 yards. 3 touchdowns for him. Lloyd Graham Jr. with 4 touchdowns. And then you have, on the defensive side, you have Troy Loshaw. I don't know how to say that last name.
Yeah.
But he has 7 interceptions already.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the worst time that I think that AJ to have to go into Baltimore when you got a red hot, Baltimore defense, with Troy back there, just waiting, just salivating for AJ to throw more interceptions. And I think it's a tall ask. And Baltimore's, they're 3-0 at home. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Queen City being 1-3. I think they're in the 19th position in the league.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a struggle for Queen City at this weekend.
I want to ask you a quick follow up, but first, I want a couple people in the chat. It was making me laugh. Tyler Falk said unscripted equals unfocused and then right behind that, Bo Martin Jr. said there's a glitch in Coach's matrix. You were all crazy there for a minute, Coach. It was kind of funny. Greg, real quick answer, if you don't mind. Did we learn anything about Baltimore last week, barely hanging on to beat London, or did we end up learning more about London last week?
Ooh, I think we learned more about London being able to do what they did in Baltimore, knowing that Baltimore is a really good top tier team. To me, it's letting me know, and I think it let us know at LSG this week that London is not the London of old.
Yeah.
It is London of this year, and they're more than ready to take it to anybody.
Right.
I don't want to face London this week, but I think we learned more about London than we did about Baltimore. I would have thought Baltimore would win that game at home.
Yeah, I think London gave them a game, though. Here's an interesting thing, though. Baltimore, so for Jack's data, Baltimore is favored by 8 points. We don't see the 8-point spread very often. It's usually 7, 7.5, maybe 6.5. Very rare do we see the 8-point spread. Over under 48.5, which is about middle of the road. But here is the worst who you got of the weekend so far. Baltimore being taken by SFL Nation in the who you got, 145 to 14. There's 20 people on Queen City, I think, that could at least vote for their own team.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
14 might be one of the lowest I've ever seen. No, I'm sure they do. But anyway, moving on to my favorite game of the week. I think it's also Coach's and Benji's and Greg's favorite game of the week, which is the reason why Eddie Gage is the only one who can break this down for us this weekend and preview it. Lone Star at London. Is this potential game of the week material, Eddie?
You took the words out of my mouth, Dave. Pause.
Other way, Benji. Lone Star, go up now. Go up. Lone Star.
Benji's a rookie at this. Look at this.
All he says Lone Star rules. That's all I see. Oh, look, and now it gets pixelated. That's what you get, Benji. All right, Eddie. Sorry for Benji being so rude. Go ahead.
I think it is the game of the week, Dave. I really do. Lone Star, they started the season out with an impressive win over Florida. Looking back at things, Florida has taken over from there. You got to give them credit for it. Before they finally lost 2 games versus Carolina and Houston, which kind of surprised a lot of people. In both those games, their offense struggled to sustain drives. Last week versus Jacksonville, however, after a slow start, your offense exploded, scoring 21 second quarter points en route to an impressive 38-22 win at home over Jacksonville. Lone Star's defense, however, showed out as well, keeping Jacksonville out of the end zone into the fourth quarter. So, you guys are picking things up on both sides of the ball there. London, however, although they're 2-2, last week they pushed the world champs to the limit, and it took a late fourth quarter touchdown. I believe it was by T. Gaines to put that game away for them to come away with the victory in Baltimore. London's defense got off to a rocky start in the first quarter. They gave up 17 quick points, and everyone thought this game was over, but they battled back and made a great game out of this. So kudos to them and their defense for getting that turned around. But at the end of the day, Baltimore ended up stymieing them throughout the rest of the contest. But a lot of people are giving London a moral victory in that game because it was in Baltimore, and to come away and compete like that in Baltimore is impressive. Like you said, Dave, in my opinion, this has the potential to be the game of the week. And we just have to see how it plays out. I personally look forward to seeing how the matchup between Tanner Hendricks and Greg Soto goes, because in my opinion, Tanner is one of the better cornerbacks in the league who doesn't get enough credit. And I'm not sure why that is, but maybe his team, I don't know. But he's a darn good corner over there, and I can't wait to see how he matches up versus Soto, how they use him, where they leave him in man all day versus Greg, or put some zone in there or mix it up, who knows. But I can't wait to see how that matchup unfolds. And this could honestly be a pick'em game to me. But since Dave makes us choose the winner and calls us, he tells us we need to step into the plate, make a decision. I'm going to go out on a limb on this one, and I'm going to pick London to walk away with this game late in the fourth quarter.
No, what I tell you is if you're going to pick them, you have to make intelligent decisions, is what I meant to say, Eddie. What the hell?
Eddie,
Anyway,
don't let him talk to you that way.
hey, all I'm saying is whoever wins is going to be a team that starts with an L, and then the home team's going home with an L. Boom. How you like them? How you like them apples, Benji? So here's real quick, Eddie, because we're actually running a little tiny bit behind. Both teams coming off of games that are giving them momentum into this game. Are you saying that the momentum London got from the Baltimore game is going to carry them through more than the momentum that Lone Star got from beating Jacksonville?
I won't say that, but I will say that the way they were able to compete in Baltimore, that defense in London has some playmakers on it. I'm not saying that overall as a team they're great, but they got some great players that when coached right, and once they get that thing figured out, man, I'm telling you, I mean, they gave up 17 quick points, but they hung in there. The defense set them out for the rest for most of that game after that. And I think we're going to surprise some people this season, like I said early on this season, and they're gonna, make some moves. Now, how far they go, I don't know. We have to just wait and see how that goes. But London is for real, and it's almost a pick 'em game to me. But since I have to make a choice, they're a home team. I'm going with London.
Well, you're going to be surprised by this. You think it's a pick'em game. I think it's closer to a pick'em game as well. However, Jack's Data does not see it that way. Jack's Data has Lone Star favored by 6. So nearly a touchdown on the road, over under 50.5, which is about middle of the road, maybe a little higher than middle of the road. This is, let me think. It's 8. This is the second closest. So that Vancouver LA was a 6 vote difference. This is only an 8 vote difference, 83-75 in favor of Lone Star, which I'm not surprised by.
Game in a survivor pool.
Yeah. Oh no. If anybody picks this game in survivor pool, big cojones, man. Big cojones. All right, Coach. Moving on to the next to last game on Sunday, Mexico City at Florida. Two teams that are both playing very well. Both teams highly ranked in the power rankings. Both teams, I believe, are 3-1. So, is it good? Are we going to get to splitting hairs like home field advantage, or Boletsky needs to pick things up, or Phoenix Jones? Are we going to be splitting hairs in this game?
Well, I'm not going to be, but there's an argument to be said for that. This is a game for the discriminating SFL enthusiast. You've got two legendary franchises. You've got some longtime coaches that are able to manipulate the playbook in ways everybody else can't. They're really good. They're really good there. Some stats do stick out. Mexico City is 3rd in yards per game. More impressive to me, 2nd in rushing yards per game at 127.5. That is really good.
That is good.
They are underwater on the turnover differential, but only by 2. They're -2. And I just think in this era of the SFL, turnovers are going to happen. If you can be close to even, you're doing pretty well. Florida, also underwater by 2. They're mid-pack on offense, middle of the pack on their yards per game. But once again, Florida has a top 5 defense at 320.5 yards per game. Dave, you remember we got 3 rushing touchdowns. Ike got 3 rushing touchdowns in week 1 against them. You know how many they've given up since then?
I'm going to go with 0. Oh, 1. Okay, that was close.
1 rushing touchdown.
Wow.
They're really good. They're really good against the run. And I just mentioned they're playing the number 2 rushing team in the league.
Yeah. And Phoenix Jones coming off of 4, right? 4 last week?
Monster game. Fantastic game from Phoenix. This is an interesting, I mean, we say this, it's a kind of a cliche. They're all interesting. This is an interesting game. This is going to be a fun game to watch. And you're watching, I don't think either one of them is going to, Mexico City's not going to go, oh, Florida's really good at stopping the run. Let's do something else. They can. You got a pretty balanced offense, but they're still going to do what they do. And we're going to get to watch a couple of, frankly, kind of juggernauts go against each other.
Yeah.
So this is a must see TV. You heard must not see TV earlier in the season. This is must see TV. These 2 games, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be tight. Home field advantage, back to the splitting hairs part. Home field advantage may be the deciding factor. It may come down to that key turnover right at the which Florida has a knack for. So
right.
Real
quick question, Coach. Florida this past week in the running game, Doyle only 19 yards, Boletsky only 55 yards. That doesn't get it done against Mexico City this weekend, right?
I don't think so. And I felt like, I know when we were simming to get ready for Florida, it's like, holy crap, Boletsky's a rookie. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's
and I feel like they could really, I think like I feel like they could really use him. I think legendary settings have nerfed the fullback run game just a little bit. I can tell you, everybody knows we like our fullback. We like to run our fullback. It's harder to get him going. And so Doyle, he's not going to get much more than that. When will LSG have a logo on their Twitter?
Never now, Greg. I'm principal alone. Real quick, Coach. Rizabit said in the chat, Ramos versus Mighty is must-see TV, and I think we both agree with that. Jack's data has Florida favored by 3 in this game, and that could be the literally splitting hairs home field advantage part. Over under 51.5, and but wow. Look at SFL Nation. I'm a little surprised by this, Coach. 125 to only 36 in favor of Florida. I guess a lot of people on that Florida bandwagon the last few weeks, even though Mexico City playing really well. Moving into the final game of the weekend, Benji. Portland at San Diego. San Diego hasn't won a game yet. We kind of touched on this the other night, that this could potentially, because the game's in San Diego, could potentially be San Diego's first victory. Do you agree or disagree?
Of course, potentially, yes. I think they're going to have a chance to win this game. Obviously, one of these two teams is going to win, right? Is that the old adage there?
I think
is that an adage?
Yes, Mr. Madden.
Here we go. Yeah, this is going to be a game where I said in an earlier matchup, points are going to be a premium in this one. Both these two teams struggling a little bit on the offensive side of the ball so far. They're in towards the bottom quarter in their points per game. San Diego's averaging 14 points a game. Portland averaging just 17 points a game. San Diego has scored at max just 17 points this season. They've gotten there 3 times. They are at home. They are facing Portland. Portland 1-3 record. Maybe the jury's still out. They're improving, of course. They're still building their program there. We've known from their performances last season that Portland has a good defense. They have some great playmakers that we've seen already this season on the defensive side of the ball. So points will be at a premium. Defenses will influence this game, I think, more than the offenses will determine the outcome, if that makes any sense. I have to play that one back. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm saying there, but I think that the score, these two teams only get into the 20s if there is a defensive score. And so I think that's going to be something to watch. Both teams are going to want to run the ball first. That's what Portland's been doing this season with Ezekiel Love, second in the league with carries. He's got 100 carries so far, only averaging 2.9 per carry. So of course they want to see that rise, but they are giving the ball to him. They want to try and establish that run. Matt Smith is kind of still trying to find his rhythm there. He has thrown 7 interceptions, which is going to be a concern. San Diego will be looking out for that too. On the offensive side of the ball, Javier Vasquez has been, he's taking care of the ball. They're not turning it over. He only has 4 interceptions so far in the season. The Jalen Wells experiment is in full effect.
Jalen Wells is doing well, yeah.
Yeah, he's averaging 5 yards a carry. You would love to see him, closer to the goal line, be able to convert, get into the end zone. Only has 1 rushing touchdown on the season so far, but they're also heavily using Jalen in the passing game too, is leading the team in receptions. He's had 29 receptions, quite making hay yet in the passing game, only averaging about 2 yards a reception. But they're really trying to set him up and utilize him there. And of course, San Diego has weapons. They got Connor Weston, is having a great season so far. Shea Carroll's also, and Ryan Owens are also contributing there. You want to see Optimus Klein get his, he's at home now. They're kind of just waiting for him to explode, and this could be the week, that he could be a difference maker in the game. Throw it to the tight end. But I in this one, I think it is going to come down to a defensive play and a big one in the second half. It's going to tilt this decision to one team. And I do like some of the playmakers on the Portland side of the ball here on defense. Of course, Shad Allen, 5 interceptions. He's second in the league. He's taken, one of those back to the house. Bernard Patterson, fuel up. 6 sacks. That's second in the league. Bob Funk, fuel up. I'm sure are you in chat out there? Maybe Bob Funk makes a play this week. I just didn't think that it's going to come down to something. The game's going to be close the entire time. And I think it's going to be a defense that swings this for their team at the end.
I agree with almost everything you said. And, most people might see this game and see number 22 and number 24 power ranking. This isn't going to be a very good game. I actually think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a very close game. Jack's data agrees. This is one of only 2 pick'ems this week, along with the Vancouver LA game. So Jack's data pick'em between Portland and San Diego over under a 41.5, which is the lowest of this weekend. So not expecting a lot of points. And another close, I'm sorry. Yeah, this one, another close. Who you got? This is the third closest, 89-75. So only 14 votes separate Portland and San Diego in favor of Portland as of right now. So, all right, everybody, that wraps up your week 5 previews by the panel.
You went away. Where'd you go, Dave? Dave, come back. Nobody can hear you. Mr. Access, can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you. David. Somebody else talk. It's not just me, right? Please hold while we get this figured out. Discord is being a jerk. Is it back? I hear people.
We hear you, or I hear you at least.
I think Discord's fixed.
Ah.
But it's not. It's still super slow.
Eagle City heard coach.
Yeah, you guys, I can hear you guys now, so they should be able to hear you guys.
Yo,
It's alive!
what happened?
The Discord server shit the bed.
Like the whole, like all
Yeah.
of Discord?
Yes, like
Holy shit.
I'm going to imagine their server got hit with something.
Okay, so what are we trying to do now?
Well, I mean, now everybody can hear you. So hi.
Oh, hi everybody. as I'm good thing I wasn't swearing like I really wanted to. Shoot. All right, so I didn't get my camera back on.
You need to get your camera back on.
Dude, I X'd out of OBS Ninja because you said to go to Google thingy.
I figured that. Well, you don't X out of OBS Ninja for that.
Well, I did because when I went to meet Ninja, when I went to Google, when I went to Google, can you use the same link or do I have to do it again? As everybody can hear us talking.
It's going to give you a new link, so you're going to have to give me the link.
So basically, everybody, how you doing? Wink, when you told me when I went to go do the meetup,
it has to take your stuff, yeah.
So I took it off of the other one. So, all right, well, give us a few minutes, everybody. If you can hear us, if anybody has some good jokes, we can read those on the air while we're getting this set up.
How about the Discord servers?
The Discord server is a joke. Hey, you, welcome everybody.
I'm like, wait a minute. I can't hear Dave. I can see him talking now.
Well, what's funny is people were saying they could hear you, but they couldn't hear any of us.
Eddie, you might need to resend me your link too.
Oh.
I'm redoing mine right now. So is this do you think Discord is like dead for the night? Is it dead for a while? Has it come up for anybody else?
It's back now. That's why you're talking.
Oh, I didn't know if it was the whole thing though. They could hear you talking there. If the whole
they
thing's
can hear me
up.
talking because I'm going directly through OBS.
Gotcha.
So if you were sitting on my lap, they could hear you as well.
Well, we can arrange that.
It's about to get awkward because they can still hear you.
This is about to get awkward because coach wants to join too.
Oh, jeez Louise. Let's see how many people we lost in the chat. Or, hey, look, we didn't even lose anybody. How about that? What's Marco Swift saying about me? Knock, knock. Who's there? Not Dave. Hey, you, Marco Swift. Yeah, that's the joke of the night right there. Who's there? Not Access Live, apparently.
Eddie, I don't know why your stuff's black.
All right. Oh, I'm starting to see stuff that don't need video. No, we're going to go. Tyler, we're just going to run with it. I think we're going to have everything back up.
I do have an After Dark joke, though.
Uh-oh. I mean, everybody's going to have jokes now.
What's the difference between an enzyme and a hormone?
This should be stunning.
You can't hear an enzyme.
Hey, yo. We're not in After Dark yet, but thank you for that, Winkler. Okay, people are seeing me now. I don't see myself, though. We don't have our little thing up yet.
Yeah. I can throw that back up.
I should want to see that. So anyway, Did anybody hear me? Can you guys answer me in the chat? Did anybody hear me talk about the Diva of the Week at all, or do I need
No.
to start from the beginning?
No, nobody heard you talk about the Diva.
Nobody here. Nobody was listening to me. I did all that talking for nothing. Unbelievable. You guys are like my kid. All that talking, you don't even. What's that, Coach?
It's not that different.
It's really not. Mine's not coming up still, Wink. My video.
A Discord still might be sketch. I'm streaming it.
Let me see. I can see everybody on Twitch except for Eddie.
So can I, and I can't get Greg to stay into the showroom.
Well, does Greg want to stay in the show?
I don't know. Greg's I'm out of here. I cannot work under this pressure.
Greg's like, I'm done. I can't work under these conditions. I'm out. Okay, so Discord's still down, but you guys can see us. I mean, how is it down, but they can see us?
Because you're not being visualized through Discord.
Okay. All right, very well. Well, then I'm just going to wing it with a black screen and hope that
I'm just going to roll the Diva of the Week video. How's that?
Why don't you roll that, and then we'll talk about... Oh, by the way, I did want to say this real quick before you roll it.
Say it.
He was not able to be here this evening, so he's not here to have his interview and join us for Pick'ems. And panelists, now that we're so far behind because of this, we're going to whip through Pick'ems as fast as possible. So let's roll. I was starting to say about the Diva of the Week, we had over 100 votes again. It was within like 4 to 6 votes, so it was a very close vote. And the winner of the Diva of the Week for Season 16, Week 4 is...
That's right, we all have
Sorry, I'm laughing.
I have more Diva in my little finger than you.
Greg's out of here.
Listen, guys can be divas.
You guys, I'm gonna win.
Oh, this is great.
For those of you that want to know what we're all about.
And the Week 4 Diva of the Week is...
15% concentrated power of will.
I'm going to read...
50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name.
He's not your everyday on the block. He knows how to work with what he's got, making his way to the top. He often gets a comment on his name. People keep asking him, was it given that birth, or does it stand for an acronym? No, he's living proof. Let him rock in the booth. He'll get you buzzing quicker than a shot of vodka with juice. Him and his crew are known around as one of the best. Dedicated to what they do and give 100%.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your Season 16 Week 4 Diva of the Week winner is none other than CB12 himself. He was not able to be here this evening. He's in upstate New York with no Wi-Fi, unfortunately. So he was very happy. Wanted to thank everybody for voting for him. And I just want to let you guys know and remind you, he was actually nominated by Eddie Gage, who was filled in for by Bo Martin Jr., but Bo Martin Jr. read Eddie's Diva of the Week. And what Eddie had said, while CB12 didn't necessarily have a Diva moment, how many people truly expected St. Louis to win this game this week? Matched up versus a veteran quarterback and another undefeated team, he practically played mistake-free, eliminating short fields via careless turnovers. He led St. Louis downfield without much success on the ground and still defeated Vancouver. Plus, he threw for over 90% completion percentage. So that is why CB12, Christian Brown, is your Season 16, Week 4 Diva of the Week. Is it cold outside now, Greg? Baby, it's cold outside. Look at Greg. Can he even hear us anymore? Okay.
Oh, yeah, he can hear
And
us.
did we completely lose Eddie?
No, Eddie's still here in spirit, and you can hear his spirit talk.
Everyone's here in spirit, apparently. But everybody can hear me and everybody can talk. Let's whip through these pick'ems real quick. Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. And Eddie, Greg,
I'm
everybody.
here.
Greg
can't get Discord to work. So
and Benji, look at, that's what happened. So see what happened? Benji put Lone Star sucks earlier, and then the whole Discord went down. You ruined the internet, Benji.
Well, you know what happened is Greg took Eddie's video, and Eddie took Greg's mic. That's why we could hear Eddie and only see Greg.
All right. Well, I don't know how Greg's going to do his pick'ems, but here we go. All right. Let's whip through these really fast. Game one.
Sign language.
Coach, Fort Worth at Houston. Who you got?
Fort
Worth. Eddie.
I go Fort Worth.
Bro, that's not quickly. Greg. Can we really not hear Greg, or is he just doing this?
No, he really can't get in Discord.
We really can't Okay, so just do a 1 or a 2, Greg. 1 for the first team, I say, a 2 for the second with your fingers. So Fort Worth at Houston.
Greg's gonna pick Fort Worth.
Dude, Greg, can he not hear us either?
No, he's not in Discord.
Oh, I mean, he can't do anything? I thought maybe, well, he could have had Twitch on or something. All right, you know what?
He can type it in Twitch
right,
when he gets
out.
behind.
Benji, who he could do? This is a shit show.
Houston,
now.
he picks Houston.
Oh, he said Houston. All right, attaboy, Greg. Benji.
You can hear us on Twitch.
Okay, Greg, if you can hear us on Twitch, just write all your picks down, and we'll figure it out. Benji, go ahead. Oh, we can't hear Benji either now? Benji, you're muted, bro? Or
Oh, Benji's not in the Discord either.
Oh my God, why is Benji not in the Discord? This is just an amazing show.
Did he get bumped out?
Did I say this was going to be an amazing show? I meant amazing shit show in the beginning. My bad. I totally forgot. Benji put it in the chat. Fort Worth. Is Gunny in here?
Fort Worth.
All right, attaboy, Gunny. Coach. Second game of the night.
Again?
Sioux Falls at Tulsa.
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls. Eddie.
Sioux Falls.
Soto will get it, I guess, when he comes back. Benji, when you give it to us when you can. Gunny.
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls. All right. Coach, third game. Vancouver at LA.
Benji says Sioux Falls.
Okay. Coach. Vancouver. Eddie.
Vancouver.
Soto, let me know your Vancouver to LA pick when you get a chance. Benji, I guess you're going to throw that in the chat. Gunny.
Vancouver.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game.
Benji's got Vancouver. Greg's on the game before us. He's got Tulsa.
He's that far behind. This is awesome. This is amazing. This is why we just love technology. Why is Eddie black? I don't know, Mighty. You tell me, bro.
Eddie's camera took a nap.
Apparently it did. All right, game 4. Coach, St. Louis and DC.
Greg has Vancouver also.
Okay. Why are they not in the Discord? Why they can't get back in? Because we're all in.
They can't get back. Well, I mean, when I'm typing in the Discord, it's taking a good minute for my things to go through.
This is just terrible. Discord sucks. All right. Discord sucks, even though we're on it all day, every day, and it's like our lifeline. Coach, St. Louis at DC.
Louis.
Eddie.
St. Louis.
Greg Soto, let me know. Benji, let me know. Gunny.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Game 5. Atlanta, Jacksonville. Coach.
Jacksonville.
Eddie, I just saw Greg put Vancouver. I see Benji put Jacksonville.
Benji skipped the St. Louis. Well, Benji can't. Benji's calling the St. Louis game. He can't. He can't give the.
All right, Eddie. This is the funniest. Eddie, what game? I don't even know what the hell game we're on. Atlanta, Jacksonville, I guess.
Yes,
oh my God.
on Atlanta, Jacksonville.
All right, Eddie.
Jacksonville.
Give me Soto's when you see it.
Soto's is St. Louis for that one.
Okay. And I already got Benji for Jacksonville. Gunny, who you got?
Jacksonville.
It's probably a good thing we didn't have Christian Brown on here because I don't know if I could do this with 6 people. Coach, what do we got? Vegas at Arizona.
I am going to pick Arizona.
Eddie, Arizona, I'm assuming.
Arizona in a blowout.
In a blowout. There you go. Benji, he said St. Louis.
Eddie's back!
Hey. Oh, and I don't think, is Benji calling that game?
Benji's calling the St. Louis game, yes.
Oh, I thought he put St. Louis in the chat. Maybe not.
Benji just loves St. Louis because I'm on it.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. And Greg Soto put Jacksonville. I saw that too.
Jacksonville, Arizona, Denver.
Okay, so we'll have to get Greg Soto's Vegas at Arizona, waiting on Benji. Benji, and then Gunny. Gunny, who you got?
Arizona.
All right, on Sunday, Denver, Louisiana. Coach. Denver. Eddie.
Denver.
Okay. Soto will get yours. Benji will get yours. Gunny.
Denver.
Denver. It looks like Benji gave me Denver in the chat. but I
Soto
missed
has
his-
Denver and Benji has Denver.
And what about the Arizona game?
Greg has Arizona.
Okay.
And
This is great having to do this. This is like we're gonna have to do smoke signals pretty soon on this damn show. This is
and
crazy.
Benji has Vegas for Doug Britton.
Oh, he's the only one. Oh, because he loves Doug Britton. All right. Carolina at Charleston, coach.
Charleston.
Charleston, Eddie.
Who's Charleston playing? I'm sorry.
Carolina at Charleston.
Charleston at home.
Okay. Soto will get his. Benji will get his.
Charleston.
All right. What? Both of them?
Yep.
Okay. Gunny.
Charleston.
All right. Queen sweep for Charleston, huh? Queen City at Baltimore, coach.
Baltimore.
Eddie.
Baltimore squeaks by.
Okay. We'll get Soto and Benji. Gunny.
Baltimore is Soto.
Baltimore.
Baltimore for Soto and Benji.
Okay. I love this third person thing. This is great. We should do a whole chain like through the grapevine like we used to when we were kids and see how many picks get screwed up through that thing. Let's see. Lone Star at London. Coach, should I even ask?
Look at the hat. Look at the hat.
Boom. Look at the
That
beanie,
looks like a
baby.
London hat.
Eddie Gage already said London
Red, white,
earlier.
blue? Get out of
London
here.
by 3 in the fourth. Pulls
Yeah.
away.
They'll be up by 3 in the fourth and lose. Is that what he said? I already know Soto's going LSG. I already know Benji's going LSG. Gunny?
Yes, LSG.
Boy. All right. Second to last game of the weekend. Mexico City at Florida. Coach.
Florida.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good game, actually. Eddie.
That's another game of the week. I'm going to go with Mexico City.
On the road in Florida, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Florida.
Who?
Greg.
For Greg. Okay, what about Benji?
Benji is also Florida.
Okay. And Gunny.
Florida to beat a divisional foe.
Oh, yeah, always. And then last game, thank God, after all of this, Portland and San Diego, coach.
San Diego at home.
San Diego at home. Eddie.
I'm going to go with Portland.
Portland on the road.
Greg is Portland.
Okay.
And we're waiting on Benji.
Benji. Gunny.
A first win for Optimus Klein in San Diego.
Benji is going to Funky Town in Portland.
Oh, Portland. Okay, very well. Well, hopefully we actually got those pick'ems correct written down. Do we have Tyler in the house? Is
we
he
do.
Here?
We do have a Tyler
So
in the house.
as you guys remember on Tuesday, you guys remember on Tuesday we didn't do Next on Netma because he could not do the show last night. It got moved to Friday night, so he's here now to do his 1 minute Next on Netma for us. Tyler, take it away.
All right, next on a Friday edition of Netma, a new co-host, a new logo, and a new look is in store for the next show on the program. One thing that hasn't changed from last week is that O in the St. Louis loss column. How does that win over Vancouver impact the rest of their season? Are the playoffs out of reach now for Sioux Falls after that nail-biter versus Mexico City? And has Houston turned a corner? Questions will be asked tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Netma.
Nice. Thank you, Tyler. Thanks for making that quick. Appreciate it. All right, we're finally going to get to After Dark with AJ. What time is it? Should I do my announcement now or should I wait till after AJ? Ooh, kind of torn. I think I'll wait
for your sign-off.
I'm going to – that's a great – good idea. That's a perfect idea. I know, right, Greg? So much for me wanting a shorter show. I told all these guys we were going to make everything quicker, and we were on pace. We were so close. And then, like Robert Garrett Jr. just texted me a few minutes ago. I guess apparently Discord had other ideas. So,
Greg might be able to, if he's hearing us, he might be able to slip in now. It looks like Discord's kind of
okay.
Back. Benji just got
back now, guys.
Hey, welcome, Benji. Benji, Greg, everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to start over.
Yeah.
Make it into one show.
Please don't say Greg and slip in.
Oh,
Please
yeah.
don't
Well,
do
you
that.
know how Greg is. So,
Greg,
all right.
Greg is a slippery man. He can slip into anything from catches to touchdowns.
Well, he slides into my DMs all the time.
To Miami,
so
to the showroom. Okay, look who just slipped right in.
All right. here we go. Let's get the After
Am I
Dark portion
back?
kicked off. Oh my gosh, Greg's back.
I'm back. My Discord works.
Oh, this is amazing. This is
He's
amazing.
back, baby.
I don't know if anything got lost in translation, but I was shocked that Benji took Lone Star over London in those pick'ems. That was crazy.
Hey, Dave. You know what they say, man, for your show.
I'm sorry, Greg. What was that?
Hey, you know what they say, man, for your show, man. If you can't convince them that it's a good show, fucking confuse them.
Well, we confused the hell out, dude. We confused the hell out of ourselves. What are you talking about? All right, can we get the after dark portion started? Do you think? As I mentioned on previous shows, I've asked some other content creators to come on the show to basically plug their own content and let me ask them some questions and share what they do with our listeners here, which are their same listeners as well. We've had Nelson on, we had Slyn Shady on. I feel like we had somebody else that I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Mike St. Green was here talking about his show with Cam on the weekend. So it's only natural that you cannot talk about content in the SFL without bringing up this lovely lady's name, and that is Miss Ashley Jackson. She's in the house. AJ, how you doing tonight?
What is up, David?
Dude, I'm just glad we can hear you because the way this show's going tonight, I didn't know what was going to happen.
Listen, I thought I was gonna be on the same boat. I'm like, listen, they're gonna ask me to come on, and they're not gonna be able to hear me. It's gonna be more the same. So, and it would pick tonight to do this.
Of course, right? Oh, I just got a DM from Eagle. He's laughing. He said this is the funniest show so far, pretty much. Yeah, thanks. I don't think not necessarily it was on purpose, Eagle, but I appreciate that. AJ, for those very few people who may not know who you are, may not know about your show and what your show entails, give them please a brief overview of your content in the SFL.
All right. Well, the name of my show is SFL Nights. AJ Striker. And basically, what the show is about is for you to get to know the members of your community. Um, it originally started when I could not get on the original SFL podcast because they were not accepting guests at that moment. And so I was like, well, okay, well, I feel you on that. That's cool. I'm just going to make my own show. And then everybody will be included that wanted to be included. So it doesn't matter whether you're a fan, doesn't matter whether you're a player, if you're an owner, coach, I don't care. If you want your story to be out there, come see me and I got you. I since then I had started adding a little bit more segments to it. SFL story time sometimes where I take someone's interview that's a little bit shy, doesn't want to be on camera, things like that, and I make it into a story. Like I am a secret agent, and Cam is like the head of the SFL organization, and he sends me out on um, these trips to go meet people and get information from them, all that kind. And then I go over games just like everybody else, and just try to get the SFL out there because this is a great place. It's a great community, and I never thought that I would be doing anything like this, Dave.
So I think before you were doing multiple shows. Are you only doing one show now and kind of combining a lot of that into one show? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I do. It depends. So if it's a situation to where it's going to be like a 2 hour show, then I'll kind of break it up. So if I have league staff members on, or if I have like the young son heroes of the SFL, meaning people like Cam, people that don't get a lot of spotlight, um, I try to do something separate for them. But in a nutshell, it's all one show.
Right. Who are some of the people who've been on your show for season 16 so far, and just for season 16, because you've done so many shows, I don't want you to have to think of that far back, but just for season 16 show wise, what has stood out for you in your own show so far this season?
I think having the co-hosts, the guest co-hosts on. Of course, I talk to everybody all the time, but adding that person to be able to bounce ideas off of, it's something that I implemented for season 16 just to give people difference of opinion. I have my own thoughts, but when I'm able to have people like T Roy on, or like Tyler on things like that. They're broadcasters, so they have the stats. They have um, good things for me to even play off of, you know, and have a deeper understanding when I'm doing that. Um, and I think that's probably one of the most standout things that I've done for seasons.
So I saw, I think was it yesterday, you put a poll in the SFL Discord server asking about bringing, having a co-host all the time, keeping it yourself. What were the results of that poll, and what are you going to be doing going forward?
So the results of the poll was that people did actually enjoy the guest hosts. So I will be doing that unless it'll be something like poor Tyler. He was supposed to be on the show with me this week, but he had some power outage issues. So when
Right.
I was recording this, well, when I was recording the show, I should say, he couldn't. So I just went ahead and just rolled old school. So if it's a situation to where I have somebody scheduled to be on the as a co-host with me, and they can't make it, I'm just going to do it by myself. But I will be more than happy to go ahead and just implement the differences of opinions that the community asked for. And I'm so glad that people actually gave me that feedback, because I get a little apprehensive about asking A, for help, and B, for people, for the opinions of others, because I'm not sure if they're really, interested in answering.
Right. If anybody has comments or questions for AJ, put them in the chat and we'll get them to her. There are a couple things I want to read in the chat. First, I need to answer a question. Doyle, the voting was not split for Mexico City, Florida. It went 5-1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1, sorry, in favor of Florida. Only one Mexico City pick. But AJ, for you, you've got some good, nice comments in here. People calling you amazing. Someone saying, Loki, you started the trend of people making their own content for the SFL. Somebody called you a pioneer in here. Marco Swift said his first interview was with you. One more person, and there was a great experience for his first year in the league. Tell me why you think you've done a thing with rookies that nobody else really does that much. What made you think of that, and why do you think it's so important to do all these rookie interviews?
I do the rookie interviews specifically to help get their names out there, because when they jump in the Discord, no one knows who they are. And I think it's important, as I said before, that everybody has a voice. Even I do this for the GMs and the owners too, because if you watch my shows, I'm asking all of the questions that you guys would normally ask in a normal interview. So technically, I'm doing your work for you, and I'll take my all my payments on PayPal, please. But but yeah, so it's fun for me to. I've always been kind of like a free spirit, wanting to get to know people, get to know their stories, see how um we have so many commonalities, I should say, even though we come from all walks of life. This is the one place that we all can come together for the love of the SFL, for sports. But I think we stay for the friendships, we stay for the community, which is something that I love, to kind of to help grow. And with the rookies, they're fresh in, they don't know anybody, so I feel like I'm the helping hand, like, hey guys, come on over here, let me show you what to do, you know give us some information about yourself so people can get to know.
Right. I did a little homework. I did a little research on your YouTube page today, Ashley. And do you know, not overall numbers, but do you know what your top 3 interviews are as far as views go on your YouTube?
I believe it's Cam, Johnny Pickner, and you.
You nailed it, girl. 1, 2, 3. Cam's number 1, Johnny's number 2, I'm number 3. Look at
Yes,
that. I thought I was going to sneak that in on you tonight.
Oh no, baby, I keep up with all of that stuff. But listen, I do want to have you back on so we can have another wine segment.
Oh, we'll do that. And you know what we can do? Actually, while we're on there, we'll actually do a segment about wine. How about that?
Perfect.
Wine
I
in the
love it.
SFL. SFL whining. Oh, well, no, we get enough of that in Discord already, I guess. But Marco Swift, just another nice compliment, it looks like, in the chat. As a rookie, I'm glad Ashley Jackson was my first interview. I was very nervous at first, but she walked me through it. And next thing you know, I've been on Dave's show 3 more times.
Aw.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
thank
That's
you.
good. That's good. And
Mark
Kendra Hall
Ward.
said that you have become her best friend in the SFL. It sounds like, and you've blessed her as well. Let me ask you. I can't let you go. I want to talk about your content, but I also want to talk about your team. With your boss right here watching and listening, tell me how you feel about Arizona's performance so far this short season, a third of the way through.
I think that we put up good fights, but we just have to get over that hump. First of all, I have to stop throwing so many damn interceptions.
Yeah,
Coach, I
Coach.
need you to stop. Call the right play, Coach. No, I'm just playing. No.
Coach, she needs
But-
to run more and
Yeah,
pass
that's it.
less.
That's it.
I
Run
told
her
you.
the ball. Run the option.
Listen, if I could be the next Lamar Jackson, I already got half the name. If I can go ahead and just
There you go.
do that too.
Well, that's what you guys need on Arizona is another J, LJ to go in with AJ and CJ, DJ, BJ, all the other J's you got over there. You got a lot of them, girl. You got a lot of J's over there. It's like a whole team of J's.
Exactly. All we need is a CJ and we're good to go.
Weirdly enough, no JJs.
Oh, that's that good point, Coach. What's
What'd
up with
you say?
that?
Thank you.
You know JJ's.
Oh,
Yeah, what's up? So, hey, any of you rookies, if you have a name that's a JJ, hit up Eddie and Ashley. They're looking for a JJ on their team. Ashley, before I let you go, and I wanted this interview to be a little longer, but Discord messed all that up. Right now, your shows are coming out on Thursday evenings, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they typically last how long?
Oh, well, anywhere from 45 minutes to the longest one I've done has been about 2 hours. I try not to go over
Yeah, we try that too.
an hour because right. But see, when you're talking to somebody and then the conversation just flows, next thing you know, time just leaves you.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck in editing because I do all of my own editing. So all of the sound effects you hear, all of the graphics that you see, everything I'm doing. So I'm in the playback like, oh snap, how in the heck am I gonna go ahead? Okay, it's gonna be 2 shows. Or
Right.
I'll just say, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and post it and hope and pray somebody has the patience to watch it.
Right.
But-
No, I get it. I mean, people's patience. I mean, tonight was a perfect example. Thank God the listeners tonight are very patient with us as we had to fight through this Discord issue. So I hear you, girl. Here's the last question I want to ask you. What do you have in store coming up on your show over the next few weeks?
It's pretty much just going to be my rundowns and my special guest hosts. I'm going to try to get some more rookies involved, people that I haven't necessarily talked to, or people that I haven't talked to in a while, like maybe since when I first started it, things like that. Just kind of rekindle, see what's up with them, kind of rekindle the podcast relationships that I have with because it's real easy to kind of lose track with people with so many people coming in Discord, so many people trying to hit you up to be on the show and that. But that's pretty much all I have coming down the pipeline. And what I did say as a part of that poll was that if anybody wants to see a specific segment that I've either had in the past, or if you would like to see me do something else new, just DM me and I will definitely take it in.
Awesome. All right, AJ. Well, first of all, thanks for being on the show. Thank you for all you do for the SFL. Thanks for being patient with us tonight. And good luck with what you got going on, the rest of the content. And yes, I agree. I definitely need to come on your show again really soon.
Anytime, Dave. I got you.
I know
all
you
of
do.
Whoever want to come on, just DM me.
Got it. All right, AJ. Thank you again so much, sweetie. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, honey.
All right, everybody. That's going to be a wrap, except for one other little thing I need to do. I have a special announcement about the show. Next Wednesday. All right. What's the date next Wednesday? Anybody know off the top of their head? I'm going to look at it right now.
It's the 24th.
27th. 27th?
The Wednesday is the 24th.
Is it?
27th is the Saturday.
Okay. So next Wednesday, I know you're like, Wednesday? That's not seeing you at the T's. Next Wednesday, February 24th at 9 p.m., immediately following NETMA, we are going to have a special show, a special After Dark show. I'm not going to tell you tonight who it's going to be. I will tell you on Tuesday night who it's going to be, but I wanted to tell you now because I wanted to give you more than 24 hours notice so you can plan ahead. I guarantee you are not going to want to miss this one. Next Wednesday, the 24th, we'll have our regular Tuesday and Thursday shows on the 23rd and 25th. But on the 24th at 9 p.m., right after NETMA, you're going to want to catch a special edition of Access After Dark. I will let you know on Tuesday, the 23rd, what it's all about, but I wanted to give you some heads up to plan for it. So there you go. There's the announcement.
You've been put on notice, SFL Nation.
Yes, you have. And no, I'm not pregnant, whoever put that in the chat. Hugo.
Yes, he is. That's a lie.
Look at Cam. Look at Cam's.
What's he say? I'll be pantsless. Be there. Well, Cam, you're not supposed to give it away. I said I'd tell him on Tuesday. See, Cam's always ruining everything. Unbelievable. And, he runs this league like he runs this league. I don't know what his problem is. All right, everybody. Here's the deal. Kendra, Dave Axis, Nate said you were retiring. I just got here like 5 minutes ago. Come on. All right. So that's the deal next Wednesday. In the meantime, you got week 5 coming up this weekend. Then we'll have a show on Tuesday. You'll have NETMA at 8 o'clock. You'll have Special After Dark at 9 o'clock. So we've got a lot going on over the next several days. Special thanks to Coach Eddie Soto and somebody who's still having a hard time putting signs in the circle the right way. You're having a hard time putting it in the circle there, Benji.
What a rookie. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Hey, you.
What a rookie. Look at that. Tight ends have a hard time going
You know
to
what,
the hole,
Benji?
man.
Maybe if you put the hat back on, Benji, you'd have better balance with that thing or something. I don't know.
I'm just pretending. I can't do that. Just pretending.
Oh, yeah. That's it. I forgot about your DM. All right. And also, don't forget NETMA tomorrow night. So NETMA is going to have an extra show. I'm going to have an extra show. It's going to be a crazy several days. So enjoy week 5. Good luck to everyone. In the meantime, have a glorious weekend. Thank you, Winkler. Thank you, Eagle. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, everybody in the chat. I love you. I love the back and forth. I love the comments, the whole 9 yards. Greg Soto says Benji is the worst tight end in London. Actually, stat-wise right now, that might not be too far off, bro. That's hilarious. Great way to sign off. All right, everybody. Have a glorious week 5. Next Tuesday, we'll see you at the Tees.